Now, contrary to what it might sound like, CAP guidelines are not instructions on how to get the lid off a childproof bottle, but rather, CAP guidelines are considered best practices for any organization offering up any sort of group savings plan. CAP guidelines, otherwise known as capital accumulation plans, are in place to hold the plan sponsor, or typically the employer, responsible for offering the appropriate tools, options, and education to their employees to ultimately grow a sizable enough nest egg that they are one day able to retire without having to sacrifice much, if any, of their current lifestyle. Most employees, at the time of hire, are provided a number of documents, including an enrollment package into a group savings plan. In my over 25 years of working in the group savings space, my experience is that those employees that are fortunate enough to have a personal financial advisor, and with the direction of that advisor, make the investment choices on how future dollar allocations will be invested. Unfortunately, however, many employees simply don't have a financial advisor. Now, if the employee decides to make an allocation on their own behalf, they typically look at the best performing investments over an extended period of time and use those as their investment vehicles. The worst case scenario, which is surprisingly more common than one might think, is to not make an investment selection whatsoever. In situations like this, the employee will end up in whatever default investment was set up at the time the plan was constructed. The fact is, employees typically don't have the time or the interest to make investment decisions on their own behalf. Finally, and for the first time in almost 20 years, these CAP guidelines came under review in August of last year, and we can assume we will see some significant changes coming to the CAP guidelines sometime later this year. Some of the proposed recommendations are putting even more responsibility on the employer to offer more tools and investment guidance for their employees. We are aware of these proposed changes and have already begun to incorporate them into our employee care program process. Now let's face it, we are all already busy enough trying to recover from a global pandemic and a looming recession. Let us be your financial experts so that you can focus on being the expert at what it is that you do.